So I want to ask you, Secretary Bessent, do you agree with President Trump that you also do not care about Americans' financial situations?
Congresswoman, who was the president during World War I?
Can you,
No,
are you refusing to answer my question?
No, I'm asking, who was the president during World War I?
I don't know, but clearly you are not
don't know who the
answering my
president
question.
during World War I was.
So,
But let me tell
so
you.
I'm clearly getting the idea that you do not want to answer whether you agree with President Trump that you do not care about Americans' financial situations.
President Trump does care about Americans' financial situation.
Well, he actually said that he doesn't.
No, that is a truncated thing, like everything is, that he is future-proofing, because I can tell you, Americans' financial situations would be devastated if Iran got a nuclear weapon and there was a permanent shutdown of the flow of energy out of the Middle East.
Well, then let me ask you, was your
prediction... And I promise you that
I'm taking my time back.
I will promise you that President Woodrow Wilson, who was president during World War I, the Germans did not attack us. That he got into that. It was
well, you're not answering the question, so let me ask this.
And I guarantee
was your prediction that Americans would face only 50 days of temporary elevated prices wrong? You said that Americans would face only 50 days of temporary elevated prices. Was that wrong? Since actually, of course, we're at 100 days now.
How much have gasoline prices come down from the peak? 7%. Crude prices are down more than 20, and gasoline prices follow crude prices.
Well, then reclaiming my time.
Those are inconvenient facts.
Reclaiming my time, gas prices are up by 50% since Trump war started, and up nearly 30% from last year. Diesel and jet fuel prices have risen even faster because refining markets are strained. Utility costs have soared due to higher natural gas and fuel input costs, and that means commutes, home heating and electricity, airline tickets, and delivery fees are all more expensive. And how about grocery prices? They jumped more in April than they did in nearly 4 years since when Biden was president. Beef is up by 15%, tomatoes are up by 40%, bread and milk are up 8% and 5% compared to 3 months ago. And it's those lower income households that are hardest hit by Trumpflation. They're forced to cut back on spending.
I know it's an inconvenient,
excuse me, it's my time, but
inconvenient fact, but
I know that it'd be hard for a billionaire like you to imagine how these lower income households would be hit by inflation. And in fact, Trump said he couldn't care less about higher car prices for Americans. Do you agree with that statement?
I believe that food prices are up food at home, 2.5% since President Trump took office. I know that's an inconvenient fact for you. You're from California. Maybe you care about avocado prices. Maybe you want them higher, but they're down 19%.
Well, all you have to do is to go to the grocery store to see that beef is up by 15%, tomatoes are up by 40%, and bread and milk are up by 8%.
You don't get to pick and choose. It is a basket, and the basket is up 2.5%.
Germany was not an existential threat to us in World War I like Iran currently is. Germany did not storm our embassy and take hostages. Germany was not extremely close to building and or using nuclear weapons on us. World War I was not a war of principle for the USA, and we should have never gotten involved. Woodrow Wilson is arguably one of the worst or the worst presidents we've ever had. Wilson's war cost over 116,000 killed and over 204,000 wounded American soldiers. The Lusitania was a valid target under the rules of war as it was carrying munitions. Passengers traveling aboard the Lusitania were warned that it was a valid, legitimate target in American newspapers and that they sailed at their own risk. 4 months prior to the sinking of the Lusitania, friend and advisor to President Wilson, Edward House, sailed the Lusitania to the UK to meet with Edward Grey and King George V. During the meeting, House mentioned that if the Lusitania was sank, a wave of indignation would sweep the U.S., which would almost certainly bring it into the war. In response, King George V allegedly muttered, "Suppose they should sink the Lusitania with American passengers on board." Allegedly, the escort was assigned to the Lusitania. Allegedly, the escort that was assigned to the Lusitania was withdrawn prior to sailing, and the captain received orders to reduce speed during the voyage. It has been alleged that King George V and Woodrow Wilson deliberately placed Lusitania in harm's way to draw the U.S. into the conflict. Despite this, His Imperial Majesty Kaiser Wilhelm did not order or approve of the attack and ordered German submarines to cease unrestricted submarine warfare and attacking cruise liners shortly afterward. His Majesty Kaiser Wilhelm also did not approve of or order the Zimmermann telegram. It was sent by Arthur Zimmermann and the German Foreign Office without his consent, yet Woodrow Wilson pushed for the Kaiser's removal in his 12-step plan. Wisconsin Progressive Republican Senator Doug La Follette stated in a speech before Congress in 1917 that he had received 15,000 letters and telegrams from 44 states in the Union, 9 out of 10 which supported Senator La Follette's opposition to war with Germany. Woodrow Wilson claimed that the war was for democracy and for the right of those who submit to authority to have a voice in their own government. Germany was a semi-constitutional monarchy. Citizens had a voice in their own government and also had their own form of Congress called the Reichstag. Nothing could get funded in government without the approval of the Reichstag. Woodrow Wilson hypocritically allied with the British, who denied home rule to Ireland, Egypt, and India, and who limited and restricted voting rights for certain classes while offering other classes magnified voting power, and had a hereditary monarchy similar to Germany. Germany even had the same God Save the King anthem as the UK. Germany did more for social reforms, worker protections than most or all of the other countries we allied with, and had better working conditions than the United Kingdom, and as a result, Germany's economy had surpassed and indeed still surpasses the United Kingdom's economy, which is now less than the size of Mississippi, the poorest state in the United States. A personal letter from King George V to the British Foreign Secretary Edward Grey. In a personal letter from King George V to the British Foreign Secretary Edward Grey, King George V basically told Grey that Britain must participate in the war to prevent Germany from becoming the most dominant force in Europe. Grey replied that there was no justifiable reason for the UK to do so. King George V replied that he must find one. Germany yielded many times to the protests of the US in the lead up to World War I between 1914 and 1917, while the United Kingdom did not. In fact, the United Kingdom violated the US's neutral rights on many occasions, seizing our mail, goods, seizing our vessels, and putting them into their own service. The U.S., under the leadership of Woodrow Wilson, actively aided the UK in starving the civilian population of Germany before the war started. We helped drive Germany into a corner with her back against the wall, forcing her to fight with whatever weapons she could lay her hands on, such as the bombing of the United Kingdom with Zeppelins and Gotha bombers, the Battle of Jutland, and unrestricted submarine warfare to try to break the blockade to stop the starvation of Germany. Kaiser Wilhelm was willing to negotiate terms and sent Chancellor Bethmann Hollweg to the Reichstag with a peace proposal that would restore pre-war borders and pay reparations to Belgium, despite numerous German generals such as Ludendorff insisting on inflating the demands and annexing Belgium and parts of northern France. By the end of the war, Germany had modified its government to be even more democratic, and by the end of the war, it was basically a democratic constitutional monarchy like the United Kingdom. The German Crown Prince stated in a Fox Movie Tone interview after the war in the 1930s that had the U.S. not intervened, they would have beaten the Allies. The U.S. intervention tipped the scales in favor of the Entente, eventually leading to the destabilization of the German government, the abdication of His Imperial Majesty Kaiser Wilhelm II, resulting in over 300,000 U.S. casualties, the unfair Treaty of Versailles, and ultimately Hitler, World War II, Holocaust, and the death of millions. Had it not been for Woodrow Wilson and the United States intervention in World War I, all this may have been prevented.